I think it's pretty safe to say Sony and PlayStation aren't really having the best of weeks. From highly sensitive documents around their next big system leaking, to internal struggles at one of their biggest studios. But let's get into all that up next. What's going on, guys? It's Kalo, and I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and welcome to the Level Up. Alright, before we dive into today's subject matter, I know it's gonna piss some people off. We're just gonna talk about it because it is the news, and you can leave your comments in the comment section down below. This past week has been a bit of a rough one for PlayStation, and that's putting it lightly. At the same time, as fans, it's pretty exciting to get a peek behind the curtain, especially when it comes to all these leaks, but that does put the developer in a bad spot. Sony never revealed any of this information to the public, and this is all in reference to the PS5 Pro specs leaking earlier this week. Now, we talked about the specs for this console, like that brand new in-house AI upscaling, and they're calling that PSSR, but now there's a new layer to the story. According to Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming, it looks like PlayStation is now launching an internal investigation, and this is all to find out where the leaks came from. Quote, as expected, Sony has launched an internal investigation into the leaked documents on Trinity, as it leaked during third-party rollout. Not too sure on the implications yet, as I don't think they can catch one individual, but Sony could reduce its third-party developer pool for new tech as a result. I gotta say, this is a pretty big development here. And earlier this year, like I mentioned in previous videos, Sony kind of predicted this would all happen, especially once those developer kits got into the wild. The sad truth here is Sony really can't trust any third-party devs with this information, and that tells you a lot without saying too much. Leaks happen all over the place in gaming, but this is always damaging to companies like this. And this is mainly because 1, early leaks tend to cause confusion amongst fans, and 2, more often than not, some of these announcements aren't fully ready to go once the leaks happen. I mean, hey, look back at the summer where we covered the FTC versus Microsoft case. We covered tons of leaks through various court documents. And at the time, my head was spinning with all the information that just came out. And even today as it stands, even with those leaks, most of what we covered is still unclear. But as far as leaks go, I think moving forward, PlayStation might look to keep things in-house, especially when it comes to third-party devs. Now let's stay within the world of PlayStation here and talk about Bungie, and how there might be trouble brewing within the studio. This is a subject matter that has continued to brew over ever since the deal was closed between the two sides, and we covered most of that here on this channel. While I'm not too invested in a game like Destiny, it has been on a little bit of a downhill slide as of late, and no, this isn't a direct result of PlayStation acquiring Bungie. Mainly from new reports and previous ones, it made a rather uneasy environment within the studio. There were reports making the rounds that Bungie devs feared that if the next Destiny expansion didn't find success, PlayStation would then step in and take away their freedom as a developer. On top of all that, there are new fears that job cuts could happen within the studio post-launch of the Final Shape DLC, which is coming to Destiny pretty soon. Now, thanks to IGN and some digging they did on that front, we now know there's at least some shakeups on the way with their upcoming title Marathon. Quote, according to multiple sources familiar with the matter, Bungie is in the midst of shifting around its creative leadership on Marathon, including removing longtime Bungie designer Christopher Barrett from the game director role. IGN learned he's being replaced by former Valorant game director Joe Ziegler, who left Riot Games for Bungie in 2022. And of course, Ziegler went on to confirm all this through this X post. On the surface, you might say, alright, this is a change in leadership here, but at its core, the game will still stay the same. But that's not the case here. Apparently, big changes were made to Marathon within the game, and this all has to do with implementing customizable characters. Now under Ziegler, he moved away from that and adopted more of a playable hero model, like something out of Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, and you guessed it, the game he previously worked on being Valorant. So it looks like he's adapting some of his specialties into this game, and who knows, this all might turn out for the better. The game as it stands right now, and we all know this could rapidly change, is aiming for a 2026 release window. And apparently they want this all done before senior leadership is expected to leave the company. This is also the same time in which the final payout for this acquisition goes down. Now this does sound a little concerning, mainly because at least it sounds like to me, they want to push out this game and let whoever takes over deal with the game's long-term sustainability. I don't know, this all just sounds like there are so many problems behind the scenes at Bungie. And I want to be clear, no, I don't think this is PlayStation's fault. At least not entirely. I almost feel as if PlayStation got tricked in a way, mainly because people think they overpaid for Bungie from the start. And when you pay that much for a studio, I would like to believe it would come with a lot less baggage. Now, full disclosure, Bungie is a studio I've kinda held near and dear to my heart. It's what got me into gaming news, it's what got me into Xbox. I even got a 117 tattoo. But they were originally under Microsoft, then they left. They were under Activision for some time, then they left. And now there are problems here with Sony, and the two sides continue to butt heads. So basically what I'm getting at here is, maybe Bungie's the problem, and maybe they need PlayStation to step in. I think it's been proven they can't make the right choices, and continue to be in trouble for it. Now I hope they do turn it around themselves, and I hope it doesn't come to PlayStation stepping in. But nonetheless, this is a very odd situation, and a very odd time for PlayStation, and it's just putting it lightly. But with all that being said, I'm gonna pass it over to you guys. What do you guys make of all this going down at PlayStation, and what do you think of the Bungie situation? But that about does it here. I've been Kalo, I gave you the lowdown on all things gaming, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and this has been the Level Up.